Hello there folks, welcome back to the Chap's Guide. My name is Ash and I am your host on this journey through men's style, self-development and personal grooming. Now today I want to talk to you about an experience which I had just a week or so ago, which I think is worth sharing because, you know, as I go through this sartorial journey, many people often say to me, you know, I often advocate for spending as much money as you can on your footwear, because it has a disproportionate impact on your overall appearance as an individual. I know when I meet somebody for the first time, my eyes are inevitably drawn, after I look into their face and, you know, see if they're smiling or scowling at me, I then will, naturally my eyes will wander and I will look at their footwear. And it gives me an indication of that individual. Quite frankly, it's not being shallow to say that if I see somebody who has rather shiny shoes, who looks like they've taken care of themselves, maybe even, you know, put a mirror shine on there, it elevates that individual in my, you know, just not an interpretation of their personality, but it gives me a visual idea of the sort of person that they are. And then we take it from there, don't we? But a first impression is valuable. As they say, you only get one chance to make a first impression. So footwear, I've always said, is very important. And people, as I go back to what I was saying, people will say to me, you advocate for spending as much as you can on shoes. Why the hell should I? Good shoes are very, very expensive. Well, I wanted to show to myself to revisit that whole point and take a number of folks with me on a journey into high quality footwear. So I contacted the good folks at the Loake shoe factory in Kettering in Northampton. Now Loake are well regarded as what I would describe as good quality shoes made by hand in Northamptonshire, you know, the capital of Goodyear welted footwear, wherever you are in the world, you know, sort of Kettering, Northampton and the various areas around it, they are renowned for their place in the Goodyear welted shoe journey, and it remains so to this very day. So I contacted Loake and asked them, would it be possible to do a visit to the factory, maybe a bit of a tour of the manufacturing process, just to give me and my cohort of small number of friends an opportunity to see what it's all about. Now, they don't offer a public tour. I want to put that out there straight away. Don't go, you know, haranguing them and asking them for a tour. But they were very gracious enough to afford us an invitation to come and visit their factory just a couple of weeks ago. 5 of us were allowed to go. Why was the number limited to 5? Well, they were going to give us a full access all areas visit. So, you know, walking around the factory near machinery, you don't want to be taking more than 5 folks. It's a manageable number. So very grateful. I asked my patrons actually if anybody would like to come, and the 5 of us who were going to go turned up just a few weeks ago, as I say, in the morning at the Loake factory, as all arranged by Lauren, their marketing sort of guru, along with Daisy, and they invited us into the factory. In fact, they were very gracious. They treated us almost as VIPs from the moment that we arrived. They took us up to their sort of, I guess it's, I don't know, a sort of conference room they have there, of which the walls are entirely lined by the current range of Loake shoes. And then we were greeted by Andrew Corey, who's the current chief executive of the Loake company. Now, Loake is still in family ownership. And they've been around since 1880. They can trace their history back that far, and I don't know, I think it's 5 generations of the extended Loake family are still in control of that company and still really play a day-to-day part in its manufacture, as we would learn later on. So we were greeted with, you know, cups of coffee, cookies and the like, and an initial chat about the Loake business, you know, how many people work at the factory, how long it's been there, what we were to expect when we went down onto the manufacturing floor. And then we were greeted by Brendan, who's the chief of operations at Loake. This is the extent of their generosity and graciousness. You know, Brendan runs the place, more or less. He runs the business, you know, the actual manufacturing. And he'd taken a big chunk out of his day, a whole morning in effect, to come and take us on a guided tour of the shoes or boots, whatever's being made at the time. Now, the way they did it, they took us down onto the site, onto the floor of the factory, and we actually followed the journey of a pair of shoes or boots, whatever it would be, as it progresses through the manufacturing process. And we learned, of course, that it takes, I think it was something like 8 weeks, I think, or so, for a pair of shoes to go from, you know, a strip of leather in the sort of leather rack to becoming the finished article. And there are something like 240 individual steps that a shoe or boot will go through on this manufacturing process. And Brendan took us through it. He spoke to us about the origin of the leather, where it comes from, you know, how they source it ethically and so on. If you want to know, it's actually a byproduct of the meat process. So where you have meat being processed into food, the leather which comes from those animals is obviously not used in that process, so it's used in the manufacture of shoes. So there's no wastage when an animal is sacrificed for, you know, us to eat. Every part of it gets put to good use. So we followed the shoes, and at almost every station as we went along, and as I say, this was the graciousness of these guys. As he was demonstrating what was done at this particular workstation, Brendan would ask one of the guys on the work floor to come along and to show us what they were doing in this individual step. And you know, they took us through how the machine worked, what it does, and we actually watched as one of the operatives sort of created that step. They did some stitching or did some cutting or finishing, whatever it was, at the individual step. And as we progressed along, we saw the shoes or boots progressing in their journey, becoming from initially just strips of leather, you know, not recognizable, to very quickly becoming what we would identify as shoes. So we watched the Goodyear welt being sewn on, this pivotal part of this whole process. And at each point, we had the opportunity to chat and talk to the individuals who were, you know, functioning at that point. They were making that individual part of the shoe. There was no rush, no sort of progressing us along quickly. In fact, I would happen to say, one of the things which I was struck by in the whole visit was the friendliness and the esprit de corps which was being demonstrated by the guys working in the factory. Now, it is fair to say, obviously, it is a volume shoe manufacturer. They're making hundreds of pairs of shoes a day. I think we were told, actually, that they typically make 1,900 pairs of shoes in the factory per week. So, whilst it's fair to say these guys are, you know, working on a production line, I also detected something more about these fellows, and girls, of course. They were chatty, they were cheerful, they were smiling. There was no humdrum drudgery about what they were doing, because the work they were doing was meaningful and fulfilling, because a lot of the processes in the manufacture of, you know, good level shoes is hand-eye. It's not just feeding something into a machine and catching it as it comes out the other end. A lot of it is entirely done by hand-eye coordination. You know, you judge where the line goes, you judge where the cut is. And of course that judgment, that skill, only can fall from years, and in some cases, speaking to the folks, decades of experience. And there is, I think, a joyfulness of achieving expertise and mastery of a process which takes you that long. And of course the folks will move around the factory, go from one area of expertise to another as time goes on. I remember speaking to one fellow as we went around, and I said, how long did it take you to master this particular task? And he said 2 years. Some of the folks we spoke to had worked there for over 40 years in the factory. We were told that some people, their parents, their grandparents, their siblings, their aunties, their uncles, they all had a history within the Loake shoe factory. It is really a family business, not just in terms of ownership, but in terms of artisanal skill, the people who work there. They've had a lifetime of employment through working for such a company. So as we went along, as I say, we then, you know, eventually come to the point where we see the shoes being finished in their full recognized form. We actually saw Brendan's wife, who also works in the factory. I say it's a family business. It truly is. Brendan's wife was actually applying the colouring and the patina to a pair of shoes as we walked through the line. I think she said she'd worked there for 48 years. Remarkable as that is, 48 years. Now that is truly somebody who has invested themselves in mastery of their task in life. And that's what brings, I think, the smile and the chippiness which we saw from the folks as we walked around there, and we saw these great shoes being made. We learned things, you know, like as the as the shoes come along, they go into a sort of large humidor, like a sauna, which softens up the fibres within the leather, ready so that the shoes can be moulded around the various lasts, so they take the form that they're going to in the completed footwear. And when the shoe's been in the sauna, the humidor, it has to be used within 30 minutes. And if it doesn't do so, the leather, rebond, the fibres sort of become hard again, so they have to go back in. So they're only brought out in small numbers, worked on immediately, and then they progress on their journey. And of course, eventually we came to the point where we had our finished footwear, which was a joy and a beauty to see, because now we had been on its journey through the 200 plus processes. We saw machinery in the factory which was over 100 years old, which was almost like industrial art to look at, with the bronzes and the oil and the steel glimmering used today. I mean, they told us that the machinery, of course, this stuff is no longer made in this way. So they employ 3 engineers whose job it is to continually maintain and work on this equipment to keep the line running. Because if one of these older machines becomes unserviceable because a part has broken, you can't just ring up and get a new part. The engineers have to fabricate a replacement part to keep the machines going forward. And of course, they were modern technology machines there as well. But it was interesting to see this hybrid between the old and the new, creating something which is very special, very good quality footwear. Still, made to a traditional standard, to an extremely high level of tolerance and quality. We actually saw the part of the factory where the refurbishment program takes place, where some of the most skilled workers are employed. Because, if you send a shoe in to be repaired, the factory refurbishment, it needs to be done back to the standard as it was when it was in the factory. So a high level of proficiency is employed in the refurbishment program. And I've sent shoes in for refurbishment to Loake in the last 12 months and was hugely satisfied with the product that I got back. So at the end of our journey, we then went upstairs where Loake had very graciously laid on a buffet lunch for us. And we had the opportunity to sit down and chat for around about an hour to an hour and a half with Andrew Corey, who's the chief exec. So we were able to talk about the shoe processes, and we were able to talk about the shoe industry, because obviously, it's not an easy task to run a shoe company in an era where casualization is sweeping like an epidemic over the world, where people no longer work in offices, so they're wearing comfort-driven clothing and footwear rather than traditional dress shoes. And they explained that Loake had very much adapted to that process. You will note that Loake sells things like very comfortable loafers and even sort of stylish training shoes now, sneakers, which and we talked about how Loake balances this modernity and the traditional by having factories in India, which are their own factories, rather than sort of commissioned factories where they will produce perhaps their non-Goodyear welted product opposed to their very traditional, very high quality product being made as always been the case in Kettering in Northamptonshire. The thing that I was struck by is that many people will say, well, Loake is towards the lower end of maybe these elite shoe manufacturers. We often talk about John Lobb, we will talk about Crockett and Jones, we will talk about Trickers. I've been on a tour of the Trickers factory in recent years, and they cost maybe twice as much as a Loake shoe. So your presumption as a consumer might well be that the processes are significantly different, even better in these elite shoe companies. I can tell you, having toured a few of these factories, that is not the case at all. When I was at Trickers a few years ago, what I witnessed was an almost identical process of the people, of the machinery, of the factory production line. There was no evidence really of a technical improvement to the way that Trickers are made, to the way that Loake are made. It is essentially down to things like the components. In Trickers you can buy, Kurdu leather, which has been chewed by virgins to make it soft in the Andean mountains. But the reality of the matter is, they're very, very similar. I didn't see any difference of quality between the process of the making of the shoes in the Loake factory and the Trickers factory. maybe the Crockett and Jones factory, Cheney factory. So I think I've had a sort of renaissance in my mind about how I consider my future shoe purchases. You know, I've been on something of a climb. I've worn Loake for many years. I actually added up the other day. I have 7 pairs of Loake shoes and boots in my current collection. And over the last few years, I've been sort of buying upwards. I've bought a few pairs of Trickers. I've bought shoes from Sanders, Crockett and Jones, even Church on one occasion, which are a lot more expensive than Loake. But having now visited several of the factories and seen the manufacturing and spoken to the people who work there, do you know what? I think I have found where I need to be with Loake. You know, they make everything that I need at a really affordable point. Maybe I don't have to keep buying upwards and upwards, punching upwards, spending ever more money on my shoes, when the manufacturer I recently visited utterly convinced me that the way that they hand make these shoes is enough for me, and at that price point it's entirely palatable, particularly when you think you can often buy them, you know, from outlet stores and on sales and things like that. You know, the retail price is an aspiration, but you can always kind of get it a little bit cheaper with a discount here or there or somewhere. So I found that very interesting. And finally, as I wrap up this somewhat verbose conversation about my journey around the Loake store recently with my good friends, my patrons who joined me on the day, what I would say is that what struck me was this was a family company, family owned, family operated. The people working on that production line, they worked there for a lifetime. That is such a rarity today. If it was an unpleasant environment or the work was unpalatable, those folks would have voted with their feet and gone elsewhere. They enjoy what they do, they take pride in what they do, and that is abundantly evident in the product that they produce. Now, I am not in any way affiliated to Loake. I've never received any discounts, I've never received any free pairs of shoes from them. I never would do, because that's not the way that I operate on my channel. I have impartiality and integrity when I talk about products. And that is very much the case of what you heard me talking about today, merely as a witness to something that I have seen, with no influence placed upon me to give you that recall. So I want you to know that what I've said has been my observations and mine only. I hope you have enjoyed this retelling of my recent journey around the Loake shoe factory just a few days ago. A high point in my sartorial year so far, and very, very pleasant indeed. And again, I thank Loake for affording us the opportunity to take that tour and to meet the people who work there, particularly to Lauren and Daisy, who facilitated it and took many of the photographs and videos that have illustrated this talk today. So thanks to Loake, and thanks to you for listening. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. You'll see more like this as time goes on. If you wish to ask me a question on anything, you know how to do it. There's an email on the screen, drop it in. And if you'd like to join me on the journey, maybe even join me on a shoe factory tour, like my patrons who visited the Loake factory with me on this occasion, you can become a patron by going into the description box below this video, where you will find a link to my patron pages. Go on there, see if there's anything you like. Remember, you do not have to pay to be one of my patrons. Some of my tiers of patronage are in fact free of charge. So, put your best foot forward, preferably wearing a pair of Loakes. And until the next time we meet, my dear friends, take care.